And we are coming down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Getting Sports with the Drunk. I am not the hostess, Cupcake the Riddler, but I am joined by...
The Master's Master. Oh, Mach's here.
Why don't we take that again?
Screen.
What happened
No,
there?
this is funnier that way. Who's here?
Mach-chine
Washable.
washable.
Don't do it. Really? We have a chance to not have it done.
Listen,
The Master's Massey.
and the Rat of a Red Baron. Meow.
The host of a Rat Baron.
That's right. And also joining us for first time in a while.
Hello.
Boo.
Say boo.
No, we're very happy that Rita is joining us. And, it's nothing like a long weekend of drinking and then, kick back and relax and have another beer.
I thought you were going to surprise us with another fucking guest.
Well, listen, I like to,
Well,
really...
technically, she hasn't been on in so long that she is a guest at this point.
That's true. That's true. And...
We got no stank
Paul.
souls.
So
No stank souls.
he's working late. He's projected to come on. We'll see if that occurs. But doesn't matter. The show must go on. We're here. Toast of excellence.
Mach,
I
go
do have a
ahead.
toast. I gotta find it. Hold on. I'm sorry. My toast is to Freddie Freeman. I don't know if you guys saw this. Jose Iglesias, who now plays for the Rockies, I guess his father just recently passed away, and I guess his dad has seen like every one of his major league hits in person. So this was his first game playing since his father's death, and he got a base hit, and he just kind of like broke down on first base, and Freeman didn't know what was it, but just kind of looked. It was like, "Hey man, you good?" And then they had a quick hug. And then, just after the game, was just saying, hey, we're all still people. It's bigger than a game and so on. But it was just a cool little moment.
Yeah, that is cool. Massey, anything?
Mine is to Scotty Scheffler for winning the Masters, because that's literally what I did all weekend, was sit on the couch, drink some emergency, and watch the Masters because there was nothing else on.
Nice.
So, do you still have COVID?
Yes.
Long hauler. I like it.
Yeah. Really stretching it out as much as I can.
Listen, you could have came and slept on a bench. It would have been great.
I somehow doubt that it would have been great, but I wish I could have.
Kenny, you want to know what pissed me off today?
What's that?
A guy at work goes, "Why didn't you just buy an airbed?" And I was like, "Well, because we didn't fucking think of that. That's why."
Yeah, shut up. Get out of my face.
I was so pissed. I was like, of all the times we've had people sleeping on a fucking floor, not once have we just gone and bought an airbed to return it.
I suggested that the last time we were in Pittsburgh, and I got yelled.
I don't want to hear it.
So this time, we kind of went into the assumption, real quick for the listeners, we went to Philadelphia this past weekend, and we'll jump into some of that info in a little bit, but we went into the assumption that we had 2 rooms, and that turned out to not be the case.
Who was in charge of the rooms?
Larry, Kyle's brother.
All right, so Larry slept on the floor, right?
No, come on. Of course not. Guess you slept on the floor. I did.
Well, the first night, there was no other option.
Right. The first night, I overserved myself. I came back, it was late, too. Came back looking like a ghost. And I'll tell you what.
I got a couple of good snippets just in the group chat of pictures. I'm guessing that you guys got separated at one point.
Well, I mean, we drove down separate, and then basically,
Okay, that might be what it was.
And then, like at the casino, there was, other than eating, there was seldom times that we were together.
Other than eating, nachos.
Yeah, ate a lot of corn chips this weekend.
Last night.
Took down a lot of nachos.
Yeah, food all in
Pretty
all
much 3 times a day.
Food was good though.
It was good.
Did the Phillies end up winning the game?
Yeah, unfortunately.
It was such a stupid fucking game.
That makes me
It
so
really
upset.
was. It really was. Like, nothing happened. You know, yeah, we saw 3 home runs. Cool. But it wasn't even like, it was just a dumb game. And I stand by it. I know Paula said it. Kyle gets mad every time. But the worst part of these trips is the fucking game.
I'll tell you
That was
what,
the worst
though.
part of it when we went down last time. So
As far as like a hangout during the game was perhaps one of the funniest, though. I mean, we made jokes at just about every possible thing. Like, I didn't even remember watching the game. Just anything that would happen, you know, making fun of the PA announcer, the people around us. It was just good old fashioned shitting on people.
Hot dick.
Piping
Nothing
hot
better.
dick.
You know, it was funny because Paul fell asleep in like the first inning.
did you really?
Woke up. Oh, dude, we were so. I fell asleep during the game. Came out. We were up to like 3 a.m. the night before.
What time was
Drinking.
the?
The game was at 4, but we got up and played disc golf at 8.
Some of us
Played-
drank there.
Disco?
Prison
At
party
disco.
included.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, things were happening, man.
Yeah.
Sounds like an interesting time.
And then, so
It was.
we got to the game scalding hot. The sun is just beating down on us. Third inning rolls
Did they have-
around.
Did they have to pull over for you to piss off the side of the highway again?
No, that's only with you.
No. Me and Kendall both did pee on the parking garage, though.
Yeah.
you?
Oh, yeah.
We did as soon as we got there.
I ended up peeing at a rest stop and then peed like 10 minutes later, filling up 2 Sonic cups.
Yeah,
Actually, you peed twice 10 minutes later.
I saw pictures of what I'm assuming are those Sonic cups.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they could be
So
Mountain Dew.
imagine, you know, you stop at the North Haven rest area, and then by the time you get to Wallingford, Kendall peed 2 more times inside the car.
It was pretty remarkable.
It actually was hard to understand.
Like, it was almost like there was more urine than there was beer that I consumed in that ride. I churned out more product than I drank.
There was
What
for
did-
sure a record low amount of water drinking in a weekend.
Yeah, I would say for myself, less than 12 ounces over a 3-day period.
How was the sheets?
Oh, you know, so
Oh,
here's the
see-
thing. I listen, I feel bad because we
I would like to announce a distaste shot because we have 3 bad friends.
all right, let me explain what happened. Real quick, I just want to say my toast of excellence is Doc Rivers moving up to 9th on the all-time leaderboard.
You guys conspired. That's what fucking happened.
All right, so we said our goodbyes. We got in the car. First words out of Jeff's mouth. So we're going to Sheets, right?
You
And then-
baited me into going into a different car.
Listen,
and
I
then went to fucking Sheets.
I would have preferred if you were like with us. I thought that was happening,
So it was Kendall, Jeff, and who?
Paul.
Paul,
And so we
I
drew,
was screwed.
yeah. Listen, I feel poorly about it. The sheets didn't taste as good without you there, but
Don't try and fucking lie.
but it did taste good.
You dirty rat. First, you convince everyone to go to Wawa for trash.
I did not. I was pissed we went to Wawa. I feel dirty. And their food was
Kendall.
bad.
It was not good.
Kendall, shame on you.
Listen, there's nothing worse than betraying your friends for sheets, and I stand by that. And I will beg for
and-
forgiveness.
I have to imagine that Jeff said, and not one time was kind of like, you know, guys, we shouldn't do that.
You would be correct. The first thing I
I did say, I did try to convince Larry to go to White Castle as Retribution, and he would not do it.
Now, did you guys end up stopping somewhere? He said something about.
We stopped at a rest area because Kyle all of a sudden was like, guys, I really gotta pee.
Oh, he made it seem like he had like another place he had to go. Maybe he was just joking.
So did Patrick end up going?
No,
No,
He didn't.
no. There was speculation that he might, but he couldn't pull it
no,
off.
he was never gonna go.
Kid's cute though.
Pat, yeah, definitely.
That is a good kid.
No.
Got a hot dick here.
Yeah,
very funny.
we drank a 30 of Rolling Rock and a 30 of Bush.
What was the beer choice in the car right down?
6-pack of High Life for our vehicle. And then
That's it.
well, see the reason we don't.
It started with and then we tapped into the blue.
Right. And the thing is, like normally on car rides, no matter any distance as a passenger, I don't drink because exactly what happened. You know, a guy can't hold a piss for, an hour car ride. And also, we had a bucket of the 99 flavored nips.
Ugh.
That was like my call in the store, and then didn't even anticipate that I was gonna have to drink any of them. Didn't even occur to me in the store.
Listen,
We got to the room and they're like, all right, everyone take one. I was like, oh shit.
yeah, no one goes out, and escapes the 99s.
Did you guys remember to bring the funnel this time?
We did.
We had the funnel.
We
Actually,
did.
a pretty funny thing happened with that funnel.
What's that?
So the last day, we're cleaning up the room. So let me preface, the bathroom door situation was non-lockable.
Was a slider. Made no
It
sense.
was just like a sliding barn door. So you had to really time out if you were going to make any deposits because there's a room of guys ready to fuck with you.
Yep.
Each time.
Kendall goes in. Kendall goes in to do some damage. And Paul says, hey, I'm going to funnel this beer and then blast him with the foam.
And I heard it.
So, well, that was the thing. It was all supposed to be a setup to where you hear it happening and then we don't do it. But you held up a towel, and that was the green light we needed.
Well, the thing is, I was trying to call him to tell him not to do it.
You're
On
trying
the
to call his
phone.
And,
Like when you were, 10 feet away from him?
Yeah, but the thing is,
well, he was in the bathroom. We were outside the
well, here's
bathroom.
the thing, Massey. If I
You can't
yelled,
shout?
no, but that's the thing. If I yelled, it would have been a green light for them to do it. I was trying to be covert.
So the door opens, and you hear Kendall go, wait a minute, and then he holds up a towel. And that was when Paul decided, all right, he's holding a towel, so now I can do it.
It actually worked for the most part. Only a little bit of damage on my end.
That's very funny.
It was pretty funny, I gotta say.
All right, who gets ragged on this week for doing something stupid on the trip?
That's an off-air conversation.
And
Ooh.
besides in general, it's just kind of me always,
Yeah.
because I'm just a
I mean-
disaster.
Slept on
We
the
know.
bathroom floor.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you what, I thought I was going to yak. I'm surprised I didn't.
I can't believe you didn't.
I kind of pulled it together, but
Mind over matter.
and you know what? Drunk or not, I slept better on the bathroom floor than I did on the carpeted floor in the room.
That doesn't shock me. It's cooler.
I mean, the sleeping situation
It's level.
was not great.
That's it.
And I think so. There was two queen mattresses.
queens.
Yep. So 4 people accounted for that, and then a bench that pretty much doesn't need to be in the room whatsoever.
Listen, the bench was a lifesaver.
Who slept on the bench?
I took it night 1, and then the second night it was Jeff.
And unfortunately, there was like a chair you could use to kind of be either a head or a foot supporter.
It would have been a rough time if you used that for your head.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think of myself, no matter what, it wouldn't be great.
I was just afraid I was going to fall off of it.
Oh, I for sure, right on my face.
My fucking face.
One thing was really funny too. It was like we had kind of for what it's worth, like a cool view of the city. So take that for what you will. But it was a view
Oh,
nonetheless.
Philadelphia, fucking beautiful sight.
Yeah, it's pretty much like, hey, here's a skid mark. Check it out.
Shout out to our friends in Philadelphia if you're listening. But I mean, to those who don't know, Souls has a fear of heights. So Mach pointed out, which would have been pretty funny, if you were on the bed closest to the window, if you woke up,
Oh my god,
it is pretty
it was
disorienting.
startling. It was pretty like I woke up and you're just the window's only a good 6 inches from your face, and we're 9 stories up. So you went and you're like, oh my god, it was startling.
So let me
And
guess.
the,
I was made to sleep there.
No, I think he was on the interior bed both
Yeah.
times, taking up 3/4 of it.
Right?
There was a lot of pulling Kyle's pants down.
Ugh, why? He does that enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, when you shape it up, we're just weird guys.
Bunch
Yeah.
of weird
We're
guys.
just- I mean, if you were like a fly on the wall, like just listening to the noises people made just for no reason.
Yeah, and the noises you guys make when you're all already fucking asleep. I can
Yeah.
only imagine what happens when you're awake.
Yeah, snoring was pretty remarkable, as it always
I
is.
did tell Kyle he needs to go see a doctor. I was like, dude, I'm not even trying to be a dick. Like, you need to go get a fucking mask.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
also-
asthma-
Side toast of excellence to the city of Philadelphia to reinstating their mask mandate today.
Yep, good thing we were there all weekend, breathing in that casino air.
Recycled air.
Yep.
very funny. Anybody win anything at the casino?
So I think I left there even. Other than that, unsure because there was a lot of fluctuation.
Yeah, I mean,
At one
Anybody
point,
play-
Larry was like, "I'm up $800," and then the next day I was like, "Hey, how'd you make out?" He goes, "Oh, not good." So I don't know. Excuse me. I don't really know where everyone else landed. I know that some people came back with no money. You know. But overall,
Did anybody play the tables?
just. Oh, I mean, you did. Didn't you that first night? Did you go or no?
I mean, I didn't sit at any like I played like the computer one there, so I could drink for free. But that first night, I mean, I kind of was like following the drink girls around. And when they turn, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sitting here playing. Can I have whatever's on your tray?"
Yeah, I'm pressing buttons.
One lady came up. She's like, "What do you have?" I was like, "What beer's on your tray?" She's like, I was like, "Yeah, I'll have it."
Thanks. Be gone, wench.
I was like, whatever it is, I'll have that."
Alcohol? No, not really. I'll take it anyways.
I did enjoy watching Kendall smoke a cigarette directly onto one of the casino tables.
It was a
What?
smoking section.
No. Kendall, you were ashing it on the table.
Did you really, Kendall?
I did.
Poor form.
I know you were in a smoking section.
Listen,
Doesn't mean
I can't be held responsible for their lack of ashtrays.
Well,
I'll take
that's
that up.
true.
I'll
This
take
is
that up with the
Philadelphia.
live company of Philadelphia.
This is Philadelphia. It's just one big fucking ashtray. So
No one stopped me.
I guess that's fair.
Real quick, I am drinking from Berkshire Brewing Company and the
Oh, yeah,
regular
we didn't
collection.
get into that.
Dandelion Haze, a New England IPA.
I'm following suit there. I have a Sea Hag from Nebco in Woodbridge, Connecticut.
I'm drinking the Powerade.
Hey, there you go. Replenish those
Yes.
electrolytes. Something we should have
Gotta
done at
stay
least
hydrated.
once this weekend.
You gotta stay hydrated.
One thing I wish, and I mean, this probably has existed for a little while, but I was not privy to this. I should just invest stock in that liquid IV thing that you were talking about, Mach.
You
Dude,
know,
Liquid IV is fantastic.
it's one of those things. I was trying to find them, and I mean, I say I was trying to find. I looked in one gas station and a Wawa. So I mean, that was the extent of trying to find them.
Gave up.
But well, that's just
One
where
more
I
house.
was. But I do plan to get a box and especially, you know, softball season's coming up. It's gonna be a lot of heavy
Sorry.
beer Tuesday nights.
It's
Yeah.
how I recovered from my wedding.
I mean, just for my general lifestyle, I need to have this.
Yeah.
But I remember on Sunday, everyone was just like, "Man, I'm dry."
Yeah. Yep. But we still had like 4 beers to finish, so somebody had to drink it.
So, step up.
I have a feeling I know who did.
I had one. Actually, one Rolling Rock came home the weekend, which is by definition of our, group sacrilege, but whatever.
Excuse me. That's actually not too bad, though, in the grand scheme of things.
Listen, you're allowed to
I'm
sneeze
having
or
a rough
cough.
time. Having a real rough time over here.
But don't feel like you have to hold in those. It's fine. You're,
Real smoker's cough over here, guys.
I want you to like blow out your rectum.
You know, I've
Oh.
done that once.
Oh my god.
It was really
Listen,
unfortunate. It's a
I'm gonna mute my microphone just so I can't interrupt this story.
Massey, the floor is yours.
I had the runs and I had to go to the bathroom pretty bad. Right during this isn't a long story, so Mach, you can unmute your mic. Right during good push, I sneezed. I sneezed hard, and everything evacuated at once. And I ended up on the floor because it hurt so bad.
It's like a giving birth story. One good push later.
I was doing my Lamont.
Like mid push, just sneeze, and it just all like an entire load just out, and I was dead.
Well, I'll tell you what, that sounded disgusting. Nevertheless, I really enjoyed the story.
For what it's worth, it was.
I can tell you. I mean, I'm sure everyone's been in the case of you got to do like the sneeze and clinch.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what, today, you know, I think my body's kind of going through the final processing of everything that happened, food, and I'll tell you, I was like, God, that doesn't look healthy. I don't know what it is, but it's not great.
You should get it checked out, Kendall.
Never. I'm having a New England IPA to really, you know.
It's one of those things where it smells like asparagus, but you didn't eat asparagus.
Yeah. So I got to remember eating all that moss.
Yeah. Oh, is that peanut butter?
But all in all, was a really good trip. I hope, you know, unfortunately, Souls isn't on right now, but I hope he had a good time, as it was for him. You know, we no matter what, you know, we really rank on him pretty much all the time. This weekend, no exclusion. But, you know, hats off to you, Souls. Hope you had a good time.
Thanks for making us go to a terrible game. That was great.
Another real.
Hey.
Oh, go ahead, Bass.
Who won disc golf on Saturday?
Ball and I tied for the lead.
82, I believe they shot.
Yes, got an
27
82.
again?
27 holes.
27, right.
I'll tell you what, it takes a long time.
Yeah, it took us like 5
Well-
hours this time.
Well, keep in mind, this time when we played, we had two guys, you know, first time playing.
Yep.
So early on we were moving a little slower, and then like the back nine was like swampland.
Which it was the
Ugh.
other time, too, and I kind of remember
it was.
that.
It was wet. So like when it's like you're just naturally moving slower.
Did Kendall freak out when you
So-
guys got the train track again?
I took a good look.
Yeah, actually, it was funny because earlier he's like, "I can hear the trains there. I know they're not gonna fucking be there when I'm there."
I said something pretty much exactly like that.
Sounds like Kendall.
I felt bad. So Jeff came along for the first time, and we neglected to tell him to bring boots. And one of his shoes took a pretty good dunk in some mud.
Took a hefty sink.
Yeah. It's his black shoe became kind of like a sandy brown as the day went on.
His Adidas shoe took a beat.
What's the
But
name?
overall, yeah, I mean, it was a good round.
What's the name of that course? I always forget.
It's like Sedgley
Se-
Park or something like that.
yeah.
Sedgley Wood.
Yeah. Sedgwick?
It's like Sedgely or Ley, something like that.
But it's interesting. You kind of double back on yourself 3 or 4 times, just the way they kind of have the
Yeah.
whole setup. But I mean, I guess you have to for the plot of land they're on. But it's a happening spot. A lot of players, and like by a certain time, they have like vendors set up in the parking lot.
Yeah, so I the way it looks like, you know, I don't know, because last time we went, I think it was also a Sunday.
It was.
It was, or I'm sorry, was it a Sunday or a Saturday? It was. I know it was obviously a weekend. So I don't know if those guys just sit up there every weekend, or if they do like leagues on certain that I don't know. But yeah, I mean they usually get a good group out there. We were out there early, so we avoided most of it.
Right.
Towards the end, we started running into solo players running around and
Yeah.
whatnot. But for the most part, we were good.
Sounds like everybody had a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
good.
Well, I'm
Some
sure.
chance-
We should also, I mean, not that I forgot about it, but a sip of silence
Yeah.
for Dwayne
Dwayne
Haskins.
Oh yeah.
Freaking
Very, very sad.
terrible. That happened like as we were in the middle of the round. Kyle was just like, Dwayne Haskins died.
Yeah.
What? Like, it was just like the most random thing, but 24 years old, hit by a car. Terrible.
Yeah.
Sip
Too
of
bad.
silence. Rest in peace.
Yeah. Yep. I'm sure when if Souls either joins tonight or next week, we'll recap some more Philadelphia stuff, and I think hypothetically everyone will be in studio, but to be determined.
Should be.
So we'll circle back on that next week. But sporting wise, some interesting stuff is kind of transpired. Obviously, baseball is underway. Something that's
The
kind
second spring training.
yeah, right. I guess something of note to talk about would kind of be the Aaron Judge saga to be. Yankees offered how much? Over 7?
They offered him 7 years. It was like $213 million, and then that also included like the $17 million of arbitration this year, I think this year.
Of which he declined.
Which I gotta say, I think that's the dumbest thing he could have done. I really think that it was such a stupid call to decline that contract.
So I think there was kind of speculation even before that something like this might happen. But I think, to your point, I think it is kind of shocking.
So, from what I've read about it and just kind of looking into it, because I have a little more vested interest being a Yankees fan, but he wants Trout money. And the only similar argument is that they both get hurt and Trout made all this money, but Trout also has 3 MVPs under his belt. Judge, I mean, when he's on the field, he's great. There's no denying he's a good player, but he's usually not on the field. And he doesn't have accolades to bat. It's not like, he didn't lead a World Series team. It's just he's a 30-year-old guy that plays well, gets hurt. And you just had a team offer you a 7-year contract making, $250 million, give or take. I don't really know. I mean, yeah, I guess he's betting on himself, but he's got to be like an MVP this year to have another team even come close to that contract. If he goes out and gets hurt this year, I mean, what was the guy's name? I want to say Juan Ramirez, but that's not. Is that it?
What team we're talking? Do you remember?
There was a guy. Hold on, I'll look it up because I was reading about him today. He was another guy. He was like a. I think he played for the Tigers.
Now here's the guy.
Yeah.
Let me try and look it up.
Well, while you're looking it up, it's just, and for me anyway, I think Judge, he's not super young any longer. I mean, he's definitely kind of of, this is gonna sound stupid, of later baseball age. So I mean, like a contract like this would kind of not round out his career, but I mean, pretty much take him to a point that's like, well, maybe you play for 1 or 2 teams later on a smaller contract. So like, if you're
at the end of this contract, he'd be 37 years old.
Yeah, I mean, you figure, hey, take what money you can. Like, well, I don't know. It's just, it seems to me that
I thought it was really stupid. I really did, and not just because I want him as a Yankee. And I tell you what, I'll kind of double down. I think it was a dumb contract to offer him.
Too much.
We talked about it on the show. I don't think they should offer him more than 5 years. I want to see him stay in New York, but he's not on the field.
Right.
You know, you're gonna tie up so much money, and you're hoping he's there, but it just doesn't pan out that way with him.
It's tough. Go ahead.
No, that I mean that's really what it is. It's just I think the 7 years is too long.
Right. Well, it's a modern baseball era problem and a modern sports era problem where it's a desire for a huge contract, and a way to supplement that money is over a longer period of time. But the players don't want that long period of time. They want that same money in a 3-year block, and you just can't do it. Yeah, the money's fake, and they can print as much as they want, and it could be the contracts could be exorbitant, but as a business, it has to make sense. And that's kind of why these things happen. Like, I mean, remember the Robinson Cano years ago, over 10 years, I think it was. I mean, just saying it out loud, the contract sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
And what we've found too is a lot of these guys. We talked about this. The contracts rarely get finished.
In baseball, for me, they give these long-term contracts hoping the first half is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing. The Phillies gave Bryce Harper 13 years. If you get 6 to 7 great years out of him, and yeah, you eat it on the tail end. It's the same, the Angels gave Trout the 10, so far to me that contract isn't working out. I mean, the guy's always fucking hurt.
Right.
But you hope that you only eat it on the tail end for the last, third of the contract. Especially if it generates a World Series.
Right. If you win the ring, it kind of it makes it good, I guess.
It's like Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole, I think, 8 years, I want to say. So if you get 4 or 5 dominant years out of him, you kind of let him tail off the last 3, and all right, we got our use out of him. But if the guy's not even on the field,
yeah,
9 year, $324 million.
It was 9. Okay, yeah. It's just, I don't know. I wish. I just think that Judge. I think Judge made a mistake, and who knows? He could come out this year and light the league on fire, and end up getting a bigger contract. But I think the more common option is that he does not.
Yeah, I guess it would be the type of thing. It would be nothing short of him having a 40+ home run year, playing 100+ of the games.
Yeah,
and for that to be a feasible thing for him, but I don't know.
Do you think he comes back and plays in New York at all at this point?
I think there's still potential. I don't think it was like a hey, do this. It's just now he's going to be willing to negotiate with other teams, where prior to this he wasn't. So it may muddy the waters a little bit for the Yankees, but I don't think it closed the door.
Okay. Just curious.
Well, in the AL East too, as of late, has been pretty competitive across the board. So it'll be interesting to see how this kind of plays out for him and the Yankees in general. Because if the Yankees go out and lay an egg, then perhaps their allegiance to Judge is different versus than if he's an impact guy on the team and they win 97+ games or whatever, and win the East. So I think that kind of has to do with it too, aside from just an individual performance.
Yeah, I mean he could become a trade deadline guy. It just opened things up for like a distraction that no team wants or needs.
Oh, I know, and though I'm not like a Yankees fan, that the media, this is all they're going to talk about. You know, at least to the New York sports media. This is just going to be like an everyday. You know, people have been calling the fan talking about this. It's just going to be brutal until whatever plays out plays out.
I think the trick for that is don't listen to the fans.
That's what everybody should be doing.
Shout out Mike Francesa, you suck. Never liked that guy.
Why don't you spill another Diet Coke?
Yeah.
So that's like one of my favorite like videos of all time. Him just spilling the soda all over the studio. So he was like, this guy, you know, he did basically a 6 or 7 hour shift on air by himself, which is remarkable. I mean, he took callers, but he does it by himself, and pretty much a notorious Diet Coke drinker. And as I recall, he was like picking up his bottle or cup and just drops it just straight down all over, and just
So funny.
soaked it. He's pissed. So funny. He also fell asleep on the air more than once, as I recall. It's pretty hilarious.
I can't believe I can't find this freaking player's name I was reading about today.
Not Armas Ramirez, is it?
No, it was something Juan.
Juan Soto Ramirez. Jumping back to the judge thing, I didn't know this, but Mach, you said that you know, depending on how this plays out, Yankees might be interested in pursuing Soto.
Yeah, it was just something I read quick that they were like, hey, you know, if this doesn't get done, they could pursue Soto, which, I mean, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
No complaints here.
But the Yankees haven't signed, I mean, with the exception of Garrett Cole, in the last, almost 10 years, I don't think they've signed a big-time free agent.
Yeah.
Hold on. Who was the...
Who, Tanaka?
No. Who did you bring in to pair with Judge? What's his face?
Well, they traded for Stan.
Oh, they traded for him. Okay.
Yeah. Which, you know, fair enough. They made a big move. But, like, I mean, Mass, I'm not sure when you got into baseball, but, like, growing up. But I mean, like growing up, every free agent went through New York. Like that was always the first stop on a free agent tour. Is you went to New York and you talked to George Steinbrenner.
Yeah.
And if he let you leave, but that's just how it was. And
So what's happened now? His sons just don't like spending the money?
You know what? His son, it's not that they won't spend the money, because they will spend. You know, they gave fucking Jacoby Ellsbury that deal. They gave Cole money. They just don't. They won't go over the tax, and they just won't be as flashy as their father was. Like, you know, when like Jason Giambi was a free agent from Oakland, like the Yankees just like jumped at him. A-Rod, like these guys, there was no way. Well, actually, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say A-Rod, because A-Rod was supposed to sign with Boston, and the league didn't let him. It was real weird. I forget the whole thing. It was something with the union, like the players' union. I would have to like look up, but there was something that happened, and they would not let him sign with Boston, and then he signed with the Yankees.
I feel like that would brew bad blood for a few years.
It's something that wouldn't matter today.
It transitioned to Jason Varitek fighting A-Rod.
Oh, that's what that was because of. Okay.
No, that's not what it was. I was making a joke, but
one could happen without the
Varitek
other.
is a bitch for that. But besides the point, he fought him with his helmet on.
It's just so weird because even I didn't watch baseball growing up, but you knew that the Yankees were the team that everybody went to, and they were just going to fucking pay everybody whatever they wanted because they could.
And the funny thing is, not to interrupt you, but after like the late 90s, it didn't work. Like, yeah, whatever. They made the playoffs, but they won a World Series in 2000 and then didn't win another one until 2009.
and still we're spending. So like, it didn't work.
Yeah, I mean,
Mike, I just kind of laugh at you because you realize that you just said they won one in 2000 and didn't win again for 9 years.
But you're talking about a team that has 20 at the time had 26 rings. At the end of the night, they won like fucking 5 out of 6 to finish that decade.
Every decade they were good for at least 3 or 4 World Series.
It was just so much success, and then they bought all these guys, and it didn't work. They made the playoffs and made runs, but at the end, rings are what matters. No one talks about who got to a championship game. It's the same in we say it in football. No one talks about how many NFC championship games you went to, because it doesn't matter. If it did, Aaron Rodgers would be the best quarterback I've ever seen.
I guess that makes sense.
So as I'm trying to still find this fucking art, it's stupid. I'm scrolling on my phone. I got a fucking laptop in my lap, but I'm scrolling through Yahoo Sports. And you know how you get like the ad things?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, this one is just like Danica Patrick. Actually, let me read it verbatim. Danica Patrick shows a new side of herself, and it's kind of like a Maxim-ish photo.
Ooh.
That's worth a virus.
Oh man, pierogi recipes.
Oh man, hey, actually,
I wait for
I'd be into that.
Yeah.
Option 1, buy them at the store.
Option 2, Danica Patrick.
Option 3, cover them all in butter.
Option 4, go to a restaurant and just order them.
So yeah, baseball. It's in its infancy of the season. I've caught, like, we went to Philadelphia, so it's like that was kind of like the real game that I've watched anyway in its entirety. I've caught a little bit of the Mets here and there, and just whatever highlights are going on.
Beating the Phillies right now.
Yeah. But I mean, is there anything otherwise from MLB that you kind of jumped out at you that you guys wanted to talk about?
Really.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see anything super, noteworthy. I mean, the Yankees took 2 from Boston. That was cool.
They did. Came down and told Ashley, "Hey, Ashley, you're down 2 in like the 3rd inning," and came back downstairs and they were up like 6-0 or 6-2. I was like, "All right then."
Yeah.
I will say, Brian Cashman has been the GM of the Yankees for my whole life, and it might be time for him to go.
Why is that? I agree.
It's just a thing where, I just scrolled by the article where, all these big time free agents and stuff, Freddie Freeman, Trevor Story, even, Carrera, Yankees didn't offer them anything. Didn't offer them anything. And it's like, well, what the fuck, man? Like, just frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
We're sort of in the era too. I mean, I'm not going to go ahead and say all the Yankees were super teams back in the 90s and 2000s. They had a lot of talent assembled, but there were some less than stellar guys, starting players on those lineups. So I won't subscribe that all the Yankees were the first super team. But I will say now that it seems like we're kind of transitioning to that in baseball a little bit, and I really only say that because of the Dodgers. But I think it's definitely going to be a trend for a little while. I think there will be teams that will, hey, let's super load our offenses. And I think to a certain degree that the Mets tried to do that a little bit.
The Mets are just 10 years behind.
Well, right, yeah. But I think that's definitely going to be the mantra moving forward for them. Just say, like, hey, Steve Cohen, the checkbook has no bounds. So I think.
Well, I mean, we're seeing it in every sport.
Right, yeah. I think in baseball is like, hey, next to the party, anyways. I guess what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I mean, we literally just saw it this season in the NFL. Basketball, that's been happening since LeBron went to the Heat, where stars say, "Hey, let's all go here." hockey. I don't know. I don't think it happens too much in hockey. Just because the way like their cap is, and I don't know, like you don't see a lot of like big time hockey players move. It happens, but a lot of times those guys are fucking lifers.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, we just saw it this season in the NFL where the Rams were like, "Hey, anybody who's available, you're in."
Yeah.
And good on them. It worked. It got them a ring. I think any team in the league would do it if it got them the Super Bowl. But
yeah,
I still don't like the term all in, but I can see it.
Well, I tell you what, it certainly set kind of a new standard as we saw how free agency kind of unfolded. Especially like we talked about in great depth, the AFC West. They all the teams pretty much bolstered.
I cannot wait for it.
Yeah, I mean that is right now. It's the flavor of the moment. That's what teams are going to do, and we saw it kind of like. I mean, the Dodgers are fresher in the mind, but I think too, like San Diego last year and the year before were kind of doing that.
Yeah,
I think they kind of cooled off a little bit for now. I mean, who knows how the year is going to play out, but I mean that for sure. That's what baseball is going to be like. I think for a little while.
Very well could be.
Yeah, I just had.
Are you still looking for that name?
Yep.
I'm just trying to think who it could be. Ramirez.
It's a name. It may not be. Do
you remember the team?
Man. I'm pretty sure it said he was a Tiger, and then they traded him. And the team that he got traded to tried to sign him to an extension. He said no, and then like put up shit numbers, and was only offered like a 1-year contract, and then he was out of the league. Look at it, man.
Something along the lines of a franchise tag exists in the MLB.
Yes. So they have. It's called the qualifying offer.
Okay.
And from what I understand, they give you the qualifying offer, and I forget how it's calculated. It could be similar with the. Oh my god. Like the top 3 salaries and averages and whatever, but pretty much you get the qualifying offer, and if you take it, it's pretty much like a 1-year deal. It almost never gets taken, but
it exists.
It's not like something the teams can stick on.
So like it's weird. Like they can put it on you, and then if you reject it, and then I think sign with another team, like that team gets money back, or they get stuff back. So I guess it makes it a little harder for but like teams will pay whatever fee to go sign the big name guy. So.
I think baseball too. It's just the way they handle their business is so different. Like there is so many moving parts across all the levels of the leagues and the moving of personnel and money being different from each level. It's very confusing. It's very intricate, and it's the only sport that's like that.
Oh, I also would like to say I hated the thing in Philly where they were saying MV3. Didn't care for that.
Oh, for Bryce Harper?
Didn't care for that at all.
I like how they start the game. They have like a big, actually it was like really close to us. One section put up like a big like picture of his face, on a print, and they all did that stupid chant, and then they just crumpled up the picture and put it in a box.
We're 3 games in.
Well, so he won MVP last year.
Yeah, so they're gonna ride this out all season.
Oh, so they're cheering for what he did win.
Right.
Yeah. They were celebrating his MVP win last year, but it was just I was just so they're like, what the fuck?
That's fucking stupid.
And I think he went 0 for 4 that day.
That's very funny.
I don't think he got on base.
Yeah, which I enjoyed very much.
Yeah, he can suck it. Although I do like Bryce Harper, but it's just funny.
Just like a fuck you, Souls.
It's kind of more of a fuck you to all the Phillies fans that talk shit about him,
Well,
and then when he got there, love him.
We just happen to know someone who was like that.
Yep,
happen to know a douchebag.
that was a pretty good way to say it. You know what? What a like shitty headline. Comes up. Ex-Yankees manager Buck Showalter loses first game with Mets. Thanks.
What? Who wrote that article?
Say in a minute.
Was it like on
From-
Bleacher Report?
It's on NJ.com.
Uh-oh.
It was written by Mike Rosenstein.
See, what you're telling me is not a sports publication.
I
It's like
can't believe I
cooking.com.
can't find this article. This is making me so mad. And I don't even know what to search. Player who botched extension. Like,
Stupid idiot.
see if this comes up. Jose Ramirez. MLB.
Chris Jericho.
It's not Chris Jericho, thank you.
He said stupid idiot.
Anywho.
Ramirez is a current player, so it was not him. I'm sure it was Juan. Is there a Juan Ramirez? Anybody? Ooh, there is.
Baseball
Juan
reference?
Mach.
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Juan Gonzalez. That's his name. How'd you find that?
A little bit of creative Googling.
I'd like to know what you searched.
Juan plus Gonzalez plus sex plus NJ.com.
Detroit Tiger declines big deal. It's like the 9th thing down there.
So I remember that name, but I don't remember that happening.
So in his prime, let's see, 4 years lighting up in the minor leagues before getting called up by the Rangers, played 24 games, then 25 the following year. Gonzalez then became an everyday player, hitting 102 runs and 27 home runs, 102 runs. Won 2 AL MVP awards in 96 and 98. In 92 and 93, he led the American League in home runs, and in 98, he led the American League in RBIs. 2000, he was 30 years old, had 362 home runs, good for 12th all time. And then the Tigers tried to extend him to a massive 8-year, $140 million contract, which he then declined. Then he signed a 1-year, $10 million deal with the Indians.
Because he had like a shit year. He didn't play well.
And then he was out of the league in the next 2 years.
Yeah, I wish I could remember that.
They had a funny nickname they called him. It was like "On Juan Goodbye" or something like that.
That's right.
It was funny. Oh, and then he was named by Jose Canseco. I'd say I'm surprised no one's tried to like beat the shit out of him.
Who, Canseco?
Yeah.
Wasn't he supposed to like fight in one of those?
So he did a couple of like boxing matches, and then one time he had like his twin brother go out as him.
This is like a wrestling thing.
I'm telling you, this is a thing. Like he has a twin brother that looks obviously just like him, all steroided out, and his brother like went out and did the fight, and people were like, "What the fuck?"
It's too weird.
He does own a bunch of car washes.
Hilarious.
Because if you check out his Twitter, he's like, "Hey, I'll be at the Conseco Car Wash in fucking Fort Lauderdale on Saturday from 3 to 7.
Yeah, come meet me. Get the manager special donut.
Come down, free vacuum service."
I was watching YouTube this weekend, and I found a video of Gordon Ramsay teaching Sam Koch how to cook steak. Pretty funny.
That is ridiculous.
I like Gordon Ramsay a whole lot.
I do too. He's pretty funny.
You know,
I love that guy.
Massey, with that being said, We should put money down on how soon that they're gonna make a cooking show where it's like Ramsey and just like professional sports stars. I think it's gonna be like a cooking competition. Like that for sure will happen now.
I know this video was from like 2011, 2012.
It's a little later than expected, but this is gonna happen. I get to see the promos now, like 6 NFL stars, and then it's like like backup linebackers from like the Chargers, and it'll be like one like household name.
If
That's
you're
fair.
telling me right now, Kendall, you don't watch that show, you're a liar.
I'm just saying I might. I'm more like upset that will be a thing, and then there'll be like a crossover with like John Taffer.
Listen, I know you don't like that guy, but that guy.
Oh no. I think it's Paul. I'm a big Taffer guy.
Oh, then maybe it is Paul. I was gonna say somebody doesn't like him.
I mean,
But that guy's awesome.
that is the greatest reality TV star ever. I mean, there's nothing brings me more joy than when he walks into a bar and he's just yelling. He's been in the place for a minute and a half, just
You're
scream.
gonna kill somebody.
I love it. He
Shut it down.
sends his wife in, and she's like, drinking something. He's like, "That's my wife." Bust out of the car. It's the greatest thing ever. And then they did a spin-off show where I mean he's I guess like a marriage counselor also.
Oh yeah.
So
What?
yeah, I know. So this tells
So-
me. Oh, go ahead.
Well, that sparked because like he would talk to like the couples on the show, and then yeah, somehow it became like a fucking marriage therapist.
What?
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's like it goes like one of two ways. One, either he really knows nothing about bars, or he's just been a terrible marriage counselor.
Or some mix of both.
I don't even know if that show is still on. But I remember seeing the commercials for that, and I was literally jaw hit the floor.
That's very funny and very weird.
But
You and Rebecca went on.
still, awesome guy. I'd really enjoy meeting him.
I would think it would be fun to hang out with him.
Did you actually meet him?
No, I'd like to.
He came to Philly.
He slept on the bathroom floor with me. That's disgusting.
Man, you know how mad I get when you get tackled at the fucking 1 yard line?
Very.
God damn, that makes me mad.
So I had an epiphany over the weekend, and I'd like to talk about it because I'm curious to hear if I'm wrong or if I'm right.
Let's hear it.
So I think I found out why the NFL is the most popular of the 4 major sports.
Shoot.
The games matter the most, so it's easier to draw in more attention to the games because anything that happens in that game actually means something.
I agree, but I also think that football is the most marketable sport.
That too. I think that has a big piece to do with it, but I was just thinking, like, I heard something on the radio or something on the TV during one of the games. And they're like, yeah, he's heard he might be out for like 2 weeks. And it's like, so miss what? 3-4 games? Who the fuck cares? The season's 162 games. Miss like 0.5% of them.
Here's the thing, and I make the joke, baseball starts in August, but a game in April is just as important as a game in late September.
Is it?
It is because it's still on your record. If you're a game behind late in September, a game in April makes a difference. They all weigh the same. It's for me the thing with football that makes it more received is that it's an event. Football Sundays, Sunday football is an event. Baseball is on every single day. And I think that's almost a detriment because when you're watching football, when your team wins, you have a good week.
Right.
Yeah.
And when your team lose, you follow the what's happening, the game plan, and the whole thing. Baseball, it's all right. We lost today. You're back at it tomorrow, and the turnover is just so much faster. But you don't have, you're not having people over to watch every baseball game.
Right.
You can't do it. I mean, unless those people live with you.
Or unless you're
But
Kyle.
you can have football Sundays at your house every week.
Yeah.
And it's an event. So I think that is what makes the NFL more popular. And yes, every game does matter. You know, if you go on a 3-game losing streak in the NFL, I mean, you can almost chalk up you're done.
Right.
Um,
But if you drop 3 out of 4 against the Red Sox this month, all right, maybe not against the Red Sox. Let's say you drop them against the A's or something like that if you play them. Sure, that sucks, but I mean, that's
you have more time.
Right.
You have more time to recover, but the games are all weighed the same. Where, again, you drop those 3. It happens all the time to the Yankees where they drop games to the Orioles, right? They lose to the Orioles. So late in the season, yeah, when you lost 3 games to the Orioles back in May, that's hurtful. You know what? It's you have more time to make it up, but a loss is a loss. You know,
Right.
a loss in April is still the same as a loss in August.
I guess.
Yeah.
I can see what you mean.
Well, and we've kind of talked about this a little bit, throughout the time we've done this show, that the losses are detrimental because it's just the season is long, but as a number of games, it's short. So it's like the 16, 17, whatever they are, it's like it compiles on itself, and like it's such a draw. Like, oh man, I can't afford to miss this because that means I only have 15 more games to watch now. And I think I'm kind of already saying what's already been said, but
Yeah.
it's just
I mean, the NFL is an event. Every football Sunday is an event. You know, people plan their Sunday afternoons around what time their team is playing.
Yeah.
And there's people that do that for baseball. You just can't do it for every game. You just can't.
one thing too. So I mean, sorry, I'm just gonna.
No, you're good.
So I would say Kyle watches probably the most baseball in the group.
In the
But-
country.
Yeah. So like I make it, during the season, I really like to watch the Mets, and then I can now with the thing that I have. So I'll
You
try.
think that Kyle's ever watched all 162 games in a season?
No,
Yes.
he's gotten close, but like if I can watch three Mets games out of the week, I feel like that's a good reasonable amount. I can't expect myself to watch every single game every time they're on, because it's an unreasonable expectation for anyone. On a weeknight when the Mets are on, traditionally we'll call it 7:10 when they're on the East Coast. Yeah, I'll throw that on. What better thing to have to watch at 7 o'clock at night? I'll watch it till I either decide to go to bed or I get bored of it. But like on a Saturday at 4 o'clock, I might just be living my life. I can't just let me stop and put everything down and throw on.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit. It's just different. I don't know. But like for myself, like if I can watch 3 games out of the week, like, yeah, I feel pretty good about that. I feel like I'm still, I could say that, hey, I'm invested in this season. I'm watching, I know the players, I know who's doing well, and but to watch 5 or 6 out of the 7 games out of the week, you just can't do it and watch every single inning. There's no way.
I know. If I watch baseball, if I'm going to put a game, I have it on in the background, and you kind of pop in and out. But I at least at a minimum try to at least follow scores and be like, all right, the Yankees are playing whoever today, and they're up right now. I try and follow. I can't sit and watch a game on TV. I just can't do it. It's such a hard watch. Just because when you're there live, it's more exciting. But I mean, unless you go to the game we went to, but it's just a hard watch on TV. The announcers are always boring.
It's a
It-
type.
It's just
It's the one sport that I struggle to watch and get into, no matter if I'm
oh,
there.
I cannot watch basketball.
I can watch a basketball game more than I can watch a baseball game.
I have such a hard time with basketball, and it's really me and Paul were talking about this over the weekend because anytime to me something exciting happens, a whistle's blown, and every time a whistle's blown, and it just seems to me like everyone's just playing for fucking foul shots. I'm like I just don't get. I think there are exciting things, and I can understand the intricacies of basketball, but to me they're just playing for whistles. And I can't get into it. I don't know. It's a hard watch for me.
I get that.
One thing I can say, like for watching baseball, you could watch the game sort of at the same pace that they play, if that makes any sense. So you can find yourself getting into a rhythm. Like you can do Mach, I assume you kind of do this. You can do other things and still kind of be in tune with the game, just because you kind of know that the pitch, the timing between the pitches. You know, you'll pay attention to when your team is at bat. Perhaps unless there's a pitcher you really want to watch, you're not paying as close attention to like every single pitch that like a reliever is throwing, like in the sixth inning. Like say a reliever comes in, I'm not glued to the TV to see. Oh wow, let's see this dominating performance. You know, you kind of can want to go on your phone for a little bit, but you can like listen in the background if something happens. So there's definitely a way, like in baseball especially, that you could be in tune without being glued to the TV. And I think that for some people, if they could understand that, they would watch and pay attention to more games.
And that's my thing. I could put a game on, and as you're fucking, either like cooking or washing, like you can still kind of follow along and know what's happening. And really, unless you're Kyle, everyone just wants to see their own team hit. Like that. That's what you're there for.
Right. I mean, like there's probably like certain, we'll call them relievers. If you know them or you get to know them and like what they do, you'll have a bigger interest. But like exactly what you're saying, like unless the game is super close, like if your team is up 8-1 or you're trailing 8-1 and your reliever comes in, like I mean I'm not as super interested. Kind of like we'll see what happens the next time we're up. But I still kind of stand by this. Like the pace of the game is fine. No one's putting a gun to your head to watch a baseball game. Either watch it or don't. It's up to you. I think if for me, let's say the Mets, for example, they start at 7:10 when they're on the East Coast. The game is usually done by, we'll call it 9:58 or 10:17.
It only takes 3 hours.
I mean,
It should on average.
That's basically what it is. I mean, and that accounts for all the the commercials in between innings and whatnot. If there's pitching changes, and it kind of accounts for just hitting scoring runs in general, because that takes time. Ball in play that eats up X amount of time. So that's on average. I think people get intimidated knowing, oh, there's 9 innings of this. I think it's a hard thing for people to understand and to kind of formulate it into your time spent.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, you kind of hit. I don't want to keep saying the same thing, but to commit 3 hours on like every weeknight is
right. You just can't. Like life gets in the way. I mean, unless you really have nothing going on and you can sit and watch every game. Like here's an example, and I think I'm fairly certain the Mets started at 7 o'clock tonight, 7:10. They're in Philadelphia. It's 9 o'clock right now, 9:11, and it's no, right now. Oh,
9 o'clock on a Saturday?
I didn't catch that. Damn you. But the game's already top 8 with 2 outs.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh man, that made myself laugh.
I didn't even hear what you said.
He pulled a Billy Joel fast one on me, and to his credit, it was pretty good. But screw him.
Very funny.
Terrible song.
It's not a terrible song.
Yep, sure is. Anywho, moving on. But yeah, that's
It
what I
didn't
mean.
matter what it was. It was Billy Joel, so it's not about something.
But yeah, like so assuming the game started at 7:10, it's been what 2 hours. The game's almost over.
I don't know. It's definitely just one of those things I can't bring myself to sit and watch.
It's tough. It's tough.
But
I can never be the watch the fucking game cast guy.
No, you can't do that. Every so often, like if I was watching and then I'm stepping away, and I wanted to kind of keep tabs, I'll take a look. But I'm not. I can't. You can't be glued to your phone watching it. I mean, that's like the worst possible way to watch a baseball game.
Yeah.
You're sitting there and you watch the little dot come at the batter's box and like, oh,
Hashtag souls.
the pitch was inside, but they called it a strike anyway. Riveting stuff.
We'll get a drink. Does anybody want anything?
Yeah. What do you got?
I got water and Powerade.
No.
Drive down to the back of the store and get you a beer.
Perfect.
Imagine if he just dropped it off to you.
Signing
Ask
off.
him about the time that I did that once.
Wait, what happened?
Where I drove down to on a Tuesday night down to Peter's house.
Oh man, yeah, to drop the whatchamacallit off.
Sounds like you really cared about it.
Oh, it wasn't for me. But he did. The mask came through. Solid guy, that Mass.
What else you got for us, Kendall?
Well, I figured, we can kind of, sort of keep it light. We're in that weird time period. Baseball is starting. Basketball wise, I'd hate to talk about this. I don't care. Like this Lakers saga, it's so played out because of who the team is, because LeBron is there. It's just, and it's just one of those things that it's just going to be harped on now.
It is just annoying. They fire the coach. Who cares?
It's
the coach.
Right. It's like this is not the first time. I'm sure as long as he's playing, this won't be the last. And it just, I don't know. It's just the basketball reporting is just tough, and I get so annoyed, and it kind of happened again. Not to bring up Dwayne Haskins again, but like all these sports, we'll call them insiders, are just, I find them to be the most annoying people. For myself, and we kind of grew up in this era where we grew up in the era where we started to get sports news at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
And I think, Adam Schefter, I think, was kind of one of the trailblazing people, if you were.
He's the first one I remember for NFL. I mean, he was on top of everything.
Yeah, and when he went to ESPN, that was huge news and all that. And it opened up this window for across all sports, even into the wrestling world and all. There's all these people who have this inside scoop. Where they get all this information, I don't know. But as we kind of see, there's stuff that there's news that's just fabricated, and then there's just stuff that's just kind of said without warning, because for them it's a timing thing. Oh, I got to be the first person to report this, and you end up saying something stupid and looking dumb. And I mean, when Tom Brady quote retired, and he wasn't technically retired yet, I don't know, the way that whole thing played out really bothered me, and it still does, because it was just totally unwarranted. And then I don't remember exactly what was said about Dwayne Haskins, but something to the effect of that
he struggled to get after a stint in Washington is essentially what it said.
Right.
I'm going to be honest with you. Not to interrupt. I don't think he said anything that bad.
I mean, I guess
I really don't.
For me, I feel it was sort of an unnecessary accompaniment.
I guess it was something that didn't have to be said, but when I was hearing that people were kind of going off on him, I'm sitting there going, I thought he said something seriously, vile. But
that was Gil Brandt. Did you guys hear that one?
No.
Essentially was, hey, our scouting report was right. We told the kid to stay in college, and he died essentially because he didn't stay another year in college. That's essentially what he said on the radio.
Well,
Exactly. Like, I thought it was something along that line.
right.
You know, and you got people now, like, calling for Schefter's job. And it's like, listen, that thing, I mean, that's a whole nother
Right. I mean,
conversation.
I'm
but,
definitely not jumping on board the whole, cancel culture of the world. That's not what I'm about.
but no. But it's like, I don't know. I'm in the realm of just fucking get over yourself. Like, all right, maybe you shouldn't have said it, but if he comes out and says, hey, I fucked up, sorry,
Right.
done.
And I mean,
As far as I'm done, I don't want to hear another word about it for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm just using Schefter as an example.
yeah,
because
it's the most recent one.
Right. It's just like stuff is just happening all the time, and I can ignore it, but at the same time I can't because it's everywhere. And there's some stuff that's really convenient. Massey all the time. He'll send us updates. Especially like during the free agency, he was on top of anything that someone was reported. He was sending us the info. And
Big free agency.
And don't get me wrong, like it's great to have some of that information at a moment's notice. But at what point is it unnecessary? Because I mean, I lived my life, watching sports for, we'll call it 10 years prior, with not a care in the world. If somebody, got traded or moved, I found about it when I found out about it, and it didn't impact my life that much. Now there's people getting paid, I will say thousands and thousands of dollars to do this, and it's just like the most unnecessary job in sports. I just.
Well, keep in mind, I mean, that's just the way our world is. I mean, outside of sports, you have the information of forever, since the beginning of time till right this second, is in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we have everything at our fingertips. So, I mean, sports just followed suit. And it is annoying at times because I remember, like, even when we were, middle school, even early high school, to find out anything, you had to sit and watch ESPN and wait for the ticker, and if you missed it, you had to wait till it came back, and that's just how it was. But now, it my phone literally buzzes when Tom Brady goes to dinner. It's just how it is.
I guess for me, and this is not me to be, I'm better than these people. I'm on my high horse. This is my soapbox. It's not about that. I guess what I would want is, because of how prevalent this is in our lives, just be right or do a good job. I mean, I don't know. I could let it all go if it wasn't a race or let me pat myself on the back. I was 10th of the first people to to be on the Brett Favre news when he was coming back. I don't know. Maybe I care too much about things that don't matter, but I just, if there was a closer, care to detail and what mattered, then I guess I would be less annoyed about it. I don't know.
You want to know what it is, though, Ken? I mean, the sports fan is responsible for that.
Yes.
It progressed to where we wanted information as it's happening. We wanted it right away. So, I mean, they don't really have, they catch wind of something, they got to run with it. There's no time to vet it and wait and see. It's because by then someone else already said it.
Yep.
And then you're too late. And, sometimes you're wrong and it is what it is. But as far as having to always like apologize for things being, I just can't get behind it. Like,
no,
unless it, no, I know that's not what you're trying to say, but like, it's just the society we have where you have to walk on eggshells with everything,
right?
So
and that's wrong.
Make
that's
anyone
wrong.
Upset, and it's just terrible.
I guess I laugh too, and we'll see it. Like we'll one of us will text and so and so is trading this for picks X, Y, and Z, and then 4 minutes later we'll get another tweet saying, actually, these were the notes where it's like, well, what then what is it? Who is right? Who is actually wrong?
It's just they got to go with what they get right then. And if you're wrong, then you fix it. But that's the world they live in. It's just the way Twitter is the worst. That's really what it boils down to.
And you know, things and real
Oh,
quick,
Facebook's worse. Twitter is a close second.
and maybe you guys know better than I do. I actually don't. I don't really understand all of it. So how this information is actually acquired? Like, are there people from the franchises who are just kind of like leaking this information? Like,
It has to be.
It'll be the franchises, or it'll be the players' agents that are doing it.
because it's just so odd. No, and this is not a great example, but I don't know if you guys remember this. A few years back, there was a guy. Like a Twitter handle was called like Dolphins 1972, and he would leak all the the wrestling all the results what it was going to be ahead of time.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was so strange. Like, so it's like he has to have some insider information. Like he's getting it from the source because he's pretty much always right. But like it was never, to my knowledge, it was never acknowledged from WWE's standpoint, and then it kind of just went away. And it's just like I had this vision of my guy that's like in my mind that like the Atlanta Falcons there's a guy just like sitting in a lobby and he's like, okay, I'm gonna call my connect. It's like, oh, Matt Ryan, he's out.
I mean, the way I look at it, like my speculation is Ian Rappaport must be paying. There's got to be something in it for these guys because why else would you leak the information? Like, why would you just do it? So there's got to be some type of incentive, and I mean, who knows who's the one.
It just feels
doing
like this dark web of sports. It's just so strange to me.
Dark web.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I just was curious. I mean, I have no knowledge of how this stuff kind of comes to be. I don't know if you guys had known any.
Depending on who,
as a sports insider,
depending on who the topic is about, you'll get the report from one of four people. You'll get it from the team, you'll get it from the player, you'll get it from the agent, or you'll get it from another agent who was like alongside. It'll be the other team. So in the case of, let's say, I don't know, hey, we just traded for this person. It's going to be a team source that's going to tell you that. Or, hey, we just signed this big extension. That's probably going to be the agent telling you that. And in cases of like where the player wants to get some shit out, it's probably going to be somebody like Josiah Anderson who likes to credit herself as the player's insider or something like that. Really depends on the kind of news that's where it's coming from.
It always kind of baffles when, like, trade rumors are going around, and
those are almost always leaked by the agents.
But not even that, where like things are happening, and all of a sudden it's like a team's information, and it's stuff that they wouldn't want out. So how is it not like, man? How are you not like trying to crack skulls to be like, who the fuck?
Well, so another part of that is for organizations that are badly run that do that is you do the old tried and true method of, hey, I'm going to tell one different thing to every single person, find out who actually says this shit.
It's just, I don't know.
But I agree with you.
It's annoying when things are happening and I'm like, well, I heard from this source. And you're like, well, why is anyone even talking to you?
Yeah.
Like you said, there's give and take.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I saw this page about Juan Gonzalez open. Go ahead and close that.
It's certainly very interesting. I'm unfortunately going to struggle to go to another Yankees game this season. I love going with my in-laws and hanging out with them and my wife at the games, but it's just such a whole fucking day affair that, like, to go to Yankee Stadium, it's like wake up early, drive down to West Haven, catch the train, ride 2 hours on the train, get to the stadium 2 hours early so we can get to our seats, get food, get programs, all that shit. The game starts, takes another 2 hours, then it's back on the train to West Haven, then it's home, and then it's fucking 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, it's a tough
It's
investment. You know, and it's tough because there's a lot of ways to look at it. You know, we live in an interesting place where we live close enough to, you know, the Yankees, Mets, and the Red Sox that it's like, okay, yeah, you know, I'll take the drive, or I'll take the train and go and watch this. You know, whereas the people who live in the cities have the luxury of, oh, I know how to do this thing, so I can buy tickets whenever. I can go and I can leave my house 25 minutes before the game and get in and maybe just miss the national anthem and first pitch and all that and be situated. So it's definitely, there's an advantage obviously to living in the city where the team plays versus
of course.
where, you know, we live in. Oh, I want to go see the Red Sox play. I gotta, you know, get up, like you're saying, Mass, early in the morning. Gotta figure out how I'm getting there. You know, then you sit through the game and then you battle all the traffic, or you're taking the train back, which is, you know, equal amount of time. So yeah, it's tough. I mean, even like for what we did this past weekend, and we went to Philadelphia, and when you shape it up, it's on paper, as the crow flies, it's about a 3-hour distance. Now, traffic plays into a little bit, and we'll call it 3.5, 4 hours, depending on when you go. So, but it's like for us, like we've done it. We've gone, watched the game, turn around, and come back. But it's like if you have to travel, it's like no matter how close, it's almost like you're almost better off staying.
Yeah.
Right.
It's tough to kind of like convince yourself, oh, I'm going to stay overnight in New York, especially how close we live. But there's almost like a benefit in a way to doing it, because exactly what you're saying. I can't tell you, even for a 1 o'clock game, you're still getting home pretty late when all is said and done.
It's 12.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you, we've gone to see 7 o'clock games, and you're getting home the next day.
Yeah.
No exaggeration. You just are. So that's something, and like, there's got to be a better way, especially where we live. Like, are you kidding me? Like, and you know me, I'll advocate for the train all day, but listen,
Yes.
it's a bad system. It really is. For the
we know.
for the amount of, you know, stuff they have available to them, they do a bad job running their business. They just do.
I will say it's not that bad just driving down to West Haven and hopping on the train, though, because it's literally just a straight shot there. You get off at the stadium.
I mean, that's convenient, but like, unfortunately, you're stopping. If you take Metro North, you're stopping at every single station that's available on the line, and that's what takes so long. Because, you know, hey, you get up to speed, you get up to 45 miles an hour, you're slowing down again to get the next stop. You made it 4 miles. It's a commuter system. I get it, but like, you figure to go into a game, you just figure they could come up with a system where you stop at 3 places. Oh, you can catch the train, New Haven, Norwalk, Stamford. There, those would be the 3 places. Nope. Like, oh, well, I'll drive down to Stratford. Let me jump on the train there. Poop on the train on the way down.
All it took was Kyle and Paul to not be on the show for Kendall to have fucking his train TED Talk.
Listen, you want to hear a TED Talk? I could put aside 8 hours of my time.
I'm good.
Oh, you're there.
I think I'd rather put a Q-tip in my eye.
Moving on.
Oh,
speaking of which.
oh my God.
I watched the UFC fight with Jeff, which, God, I was like falling asleep. And I don't get me wrong.
Yeah, that's why I went to bed.
I do like it. I don't really have a huge interest, but I'll watch it. And I always kind of forget when I'm watching it, like when they in between rounds, and they're kind of cleaning up the blood and all that, and like they'll do like that weird cotton ball thing like in the corner of the eye. It freaks me out every time. I saw they did to the I can't remember. It was It was either the fight before Korean Zombie or that one, and I saw it happen, and I was like, "Oh my god, I forgot that this happens."
It's very funny.
I had to look away. It was horrible.
I gotta say, I mean, my favorite thing about watching those fights is Jeff doing his own commentary. That I was a big fan of.
I
Like
actually
he commentates the game like he's fucking Dana.
He's watching the fight and he's like, "Oh, you got to get the underhooks there. Got to get the underhooks. Come on." Ah, you didn't get the underhooks.
I'm always impressed. Like the guy knows his stuff. Like I mean, I didn't realize how much he watches.
You know, it's fun. I had a few years, a while back, where I got pretty heavy into UFC and really like followed it and watched, past events and it lasted a good 2 to 3 years, and just kind of fell off. And now the people that watch it, you just want to kick in the mouth. You get these guys that really advocate for, and it's like, all right, take it easy there, fella.
You're not one of those guys wearing an Affliction T-shirt and go to bars to.
Don't let Mach fool you. He is.
And things too. And look, the stuff is cool with your friends. You watch the fights or whatever. But I just all right. Got some undercard stuff that's starting at 9:00. You'll be lucky to see the main event. It will be 1:15 a.m. And like it's not like they're not even like in Las Vegas. It's not like you're dealing with a time change. They were in Jacksonville, Florida. I mean, like, come on. There's no reason for it.
Well, I mean, boxing was that way forever. The main event would come in at fucking midnight.
Yeah.
And you're like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I came to your house. It was 6 p.m.
Yeah, I drank 17 beers.
For Mayweather versus Pacquiao.
Just any boxing event. The main event's always
Yeah.
at like 11:30 at night. And it's like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, I remember this was a couple years ago. We went to our friend Vito's house to watch Mayweather Pacquiao, and we got into the thing like, oh, we're gonna have some beers, and that some beers always turns into a billion beers. And by the time it comes out, like I couldn't even like follow what was going on. Like too little, too late for me.
Yeah.
But there's just no reason for it. Like,
I still don't get it. They put a cotton ball in their eye.
no, it's not. It's not like that. It's like I don't know if they burst like a blood vessel or something or.
Oh,
Or
you made
what?
it sound like they do it to everybody.
No. It's just like,
Oh, no. They flip a coin, and whoever loses gets jabbed in the eye with a fucking cotton.
right, and then they like pour vinegar in it as a good measure.
Yeah. Like, hey, hope you like apple cider.
Yeah. No, it's like, you get kind of, bloodied and bruised up from getting socked in the face for 5 minutes. And then they kind of towel you off and, get you a little bit, ready to go again. And I'll tell you what, that Korean Zombie, he basically just took, no exaggeration, 20 like punches just at the center of the face. Didn't even defend himself, just took it. And
Good for him.
they called that. I think it was going into like the third or fourth round. Like, yeah, that's enough of this. We're wrapping this up. TKO. And another issue I have is kind of from a broadcasting standpoint is I don't need a recap. I just don't. I don't need to like, let's take you back 18 months ago when, these guys fought and, they fought 4 times since then. It's like, just get to it. Like, there's no real storyline here. Just like unless something dramatic happened, it doesn't. Like,
Sometimes there is, sometimes there is, but I see what you're saying.
that's a funny picture, Mark.
So funny.
Was this from this weekend?
This is from right now.
Oh,
I'm playing this right now on my PlayStation. And I looked up, I was like, whoa.
Shout out to our friend Mike K. He's been on the show a couple times. We'll have to send you a picture. You got a counterpart from across the pond.
Let's see.
Funny
That's
stuff.
funny.
I hate playing poker with people that are just annoying. And Asian Mike K just got bumped out of the table. No, like someone just gets pocket aces. Just, hey, I'm going all in.
It's like, hey, thanks.
Come on.
Like, thanks for playing for like the long game here.
You get more money out of people. You slow roll. Oh, Kendall, I meant to send you a picture. For dinner tonight, we made 2.5 pounds of shrimp.
Holy shit!
Wow.
Just took it down.
How'd you cook it?
Grill. Threw it on the grill.
Wow.
Very
How
nice.
big were the shrimp?
Jumbo.
Wow. 2.5 pounds.
Very nice. I know Kendall's really jealous right now.
Yeah.
I know Kendall's good to eat like 3-4 shrimp, but
No.
Yeah, you can't count on him for anything else more than
Listen, you can count on me for one thing, and that's that.
I watched this guy say he would drink a shot of butter, and then guess what he didn't do? Drink a shot of butter.
Okay, listen. I could have done it. That's not the thing.
that. I watched this guy say he was going to eat a sponge, and guess what he didn't do?
Okay.
No, he's not allowed to do that.
The reason for not eating the sponge is I don't want to end up on one of those shows. You know, the guy died because the thing expanded in his colon, and just that's because that's stupid. That's a dumb way to die.
Kendall, if anybody was going to die that way, though.
Exactly. That's the point I'm making. I'm
I
trying
also
to.
don't think Rebecca should be able to tell you what to do.
Right. You know what? Give me that sponge. Listen, the point was I could have drank the shot of butter. But listen, we had a long night ahead. You know, we had a game to go to. I think that was at that time.
It might have been. That might have been pregame.
And I had a meal coming. I didn't want to put something on the fast track. I have to get up from the table. You know.
Hey, you guys want to talk about the Baker Mayfield situation?
What do you got?
Sounds like they're going to have to pay somebody a lot of money to trade him away this year if they're going to.
So the way I kind of look at it is they'll end up cutting him.
They owe him $18 million if they cut him.
But that's right. Like, I don't know. I would see if you cut him, and kind of eat the. I mean, because what are you gonna do? You're gonna eat the money anyway to trade him to get at that point, you're not gonna get a pick back, you know, or at least nothing worthwhile.
I mean, any pick is a worthwhile pick.
Now, didn't the GM say we're not going to get rid of him for nothing? Or am I making that up?
That was what happened with Odell.
Okay, I guess I'm confusing that.
We didn't sign him to trade him.
Yep.
And that's
then guess what the fuck they did?
Wow. I'm in the camp that likes Mayfield. I really hope he catches on somewhere.
I'm the same. Listen, I think Mayfield can be a good quarterback. Last season, I think he should have came out because he was playing very hurt and was trying to stick it out. And, you know, whatever, good on him.
But it backfired for him.
But it did not do him any favors. You know, this is a guy that his, second year in the league was it second or third year, whatever it was, took a team that hasn't gone to the playoffs since the 90s to the playoffs.
Took him to the championship game.
No, he didn't.
Was it not the championship game?
No. They won the I think it was the wild card round and then lost. Because they showed up and smoked the Steelers.
That's right. And then they lost to the Chiefs. But they lost to the Chiefs by
I think they got steamrolled pretty good.
43-37 Pittsburgh game, so was within a score.
What was it? They were getting and then the garbage time points piled in. They were getting railroaded that game.
No, the Chiefs were close because I remember that game came down to the Chase Daniels 4th down play.
Oh yeah, I remember that. He took the direct snap and then
Chase Daniels the direct snap.
No, I'm wrong. He was. I don't know. I thought he ran it, but he threw it.
Did he throw it?
Yeah, he
threw
threw.
It was a really short pass, and
Yeah.
they did it with Chase Daniel, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, the ball's on Andy Reid right now."
Yeah, He threw it like a short pass. It was like a 4th and 2 play or something. So I mean, I've kind of been on record, not just because I'm a Pittsburgh fan, but I don't care for Baker Mayfield, but I do believe that the guy can win. The guy seems to be he has talent. The guy's not a scrub. I don't think he's played well and hasn't played up to his expectations, but
played just as well as Jimmy G has. But Kyle won't talk about that.
Well, I mean, listen, I could be, a fair person here. I think there's definitely more similarities than not. And I think there's a situation where Baker Mayfield wins. I have a hard time because I do believe that there's sort of kind of like that Johnny Manziel thing is when there's an attitude on this guy, and it translates
since he got in the league though.
I know I disagree because I think there was that whole thing where he was blaming the fans, and this wasn't long ago. This was only we're talking 2 years removed, about they're being too loud when we're on the field. It's like, guy, I mean, you're a professional, quarterback. Get it together. I can name you handfuls and handfuls of guys that aren't acting the same way. So I mean that's a personal bias. But yeah. I think that there is a situation, and I don't know what that situation is, where he probably can succeed.
I personally, I love the way Mayfield plays. I think he plays with a lot of listen, he can be a cocky guy, but I that may not even be the right word. It's just he does have a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
But I don't think that he's like the overly arrogant. That's what Manziel was, and that's even got Josh Rosen. But Mayfield to me is a guy that can play. Last season I think he should have taken himself out, and you know what? Good on him trying to play through it. I mean, we applaud Matt Stafford for all the seasons he played hurt.
Yeah.
So I think Mayfield should get some of that as well. It's just he didn't play well, and say what you want. The injuries to his non-throwing shoulder, okay, but try and go throw a football, 30, 40, 50 yards when you can't get the momentum with your other arm.
Right.
I mean, the whole football throwing motion, same with baseball, any throwing motion, is your non-dominant arm swings across, and that generates power. I mean, if you don't have that, you're throwing all arm with one arm. It just doesn't work. So I think he's getting some unwarranted flack for that, but at the end of the day, especially in the NFL, you have to perform.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go out and put up numbers, and his stats aren't. He has a lot of picks, but I don't think that really matters anymore. I mean, we live in an NFL where, yeah, it's cool when a guy only has a few, but I mean, Jameis Winston's still a quarterback. He had 30 interceptions in one season, and teams were kind of fighting over him.
Matt Stafford led the league in pick sixes last year.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess
it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I understand. I agree. I would be curious how the storyline, if at all, would be different if he shut himself down for the year. If this whole thing would have transpired the way it has, would Deshaun Watson be the quarterback in waiting? I don't
think so. I think the team should have stepped in.
I
think the team should have stepped in and said, "Hey, man, listen, here's what we got to do. You're hurt. We appreciate what you're doing, but we got a team to that division at no point was ever locked up."
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree that I think situationally things would be different. I guess I only thing I would see as a similarity, I think going into this year, into this offseason anyway, that there would have been a really good hard look, and I think they would have exercised other options. I don't necessarily think it would have been the Watson route, but I think there would have been a lot of discussion, especially, stuff that we'd be privy to about, hey, Mayfield, may not be playing in Cleveland next year.
I think if he got taken out, if he, they put him on IR or whatever, I don't think there's any conversation about him not playing in Cleveland. I don't think it ever comes up at all.
I agree.
Because again, the season before he led him to a playoff win. He played great the season before. Of course, the Odell experiment didn't work in Cleveland for whatever reason. I mean, we've seen it how many times where just certain guys don't mesh.
Yep.
It is what it is. But I think if Mayfield came out or went on the IR, I don't think there's any conversation about him leaving Cleveland.
I agree.
It's just the way it played out where he finished the season out, they didn't do well, and it broke down with him in the front office. And I mean, I also can't blame him where how do you tell a guy, hey, we don't know if you're a guy. All right, trade me. No, we're gonna work it out. Then they trade for a guy, and then hey, we're still gonna maybe not like. I don't blame him for being kind of pissed. Like at that point, you're holding him up. Like if you don't want him, get rid of him. And that's any team. If you don't want a player, get rid of him.
And they very clearly do not want him.
Yeah, I agree that they're doing a very bad job doing whatever they're doing. I could at this point I couldn't even tell you what I think.
And I joke about it with Kyle because I know how he is, but I truly think the Steelers would be a perfect fit for him. A absolute perfect fit. I think
honestly,
I swear the way he plays, he's not afraid to throw the ball. He throws pit. He'll keep throwing.
He's a gunslinger, through and through.
He's a slinger, and I think that Tomlin would be able to handle some of the heat that he brings. I truly think the Steelers would be the best fit. Whether or not it pans out, I mean, it's unlikely, but I think that would be the most perfect fit for him. And plus, you think about twice a year he'd be able to get some revenge.
Yeah.
But I do hope he goes somewhere, and I really hope he's successful because I do like him a lot. I do think he can be good. And I like how he plays. So hopefully something happens. I would love if the situation was I would love if the Giants had him, but I don't think it would work out with him coming onto a team that's not ready to win.
No.
With the New York media, it just wouldn't pan out. But I do think he's still got a lot of football left in him.
Yeah, it's tough because it's not that the NFL offseason's over because it's not. It reaches a point where it's like hot and heavy, and then things kind of get quiet for a while. And it's like he's now kind of like the odd man out. Like the Jimmy G thing is kind of, I think, now at its crux where it's like it seems like to me that he'll just be in San Francisco again for this year, and then his future is to be determined. So like Baker is kind of like the guy. Like okay, he's like the last domino to fall. What's going to happen with him as far as team wise? And I don't know what like. At what point he's just a Brown this coming season? You know what I mean? As a backup and or a starter, I don't know what that deadline would be.
Yeah. And the thing that's so frustrating to me is teams are talking about is Mayfield a starter? Is anyone? And Jameis Winston just re-signed. Mitch Trubisky just re-signed. I mean, these are guys that did nothing. Yeah, Trubisky, all right, went to the playoffs, lost, and then did nothing. Mayfield has a slightly better, I guess, resume, but I mean, what did Jameis Winston do?
Well, that's the thing. We have to be transparent about this, and we have to put all the cards on the table. Despite your feelings of Baker or not, he's a guy that is a viable option and is just as viable as these guys who got deals. And that's the bottom line. And I don't know. It's interesting because I think that and we've seen it in at one point it becomes political, and I don't want to get into that. Teams seem like they kind of get intimidated by nonsense. And I'm not saying exactly right. There's like the teams in this league that give people second chances, third chances. Not that Baker's done anything wrong, but there's certain teams that they won't even take the risk. It's just how it is. And we talk about all the time like these team cultures and this, that, and that. And it's evident in the types of players that certain teams go for. And it's tough to know who's the team that, hey, we're going to take a shot on a Baker Mayfield. And I think that plays exactly into how off seasons go. And I don't know that if by the end of this off season, a team that traditionally would go for a guy like Baker Mayfield is out there right now. I could be wrong, but I don't know.
You know, it's funny. You made me think of something as you were saying that about teams taking the risk on stuff. And I got to say, I mean, I don't know if this is like the right thing to say, but when the Browns traded for Watson, I saw a thing where like people were like appalled that they traded for him and saying how, this shows the team doesn't care. And I'm sitting there going, this guy was cleared criminally. How long? Like why does the team lack morals for trading? I don't understand. Like it didn't make any sense to me. There was people I'm seeing online trying to like call out the Browns that they should be donating money to whatever and making statements to, and I'm going, for what? I mean, really, like the first example I thought of is Roethlisberger. Like when all that happened with him, did the Steelers have to come out and donate money to charity and like take us? No, he got cleared criminally and.
Yeah. Well, and it's
you move on.
It's something that you kind of alluded to earlier when we were talking about, the press and whatnot. It's for sure the era we live in. It just is.
Yeah.
Call it what you want. I don't know if it's the quote woke generation, this, that, and the other. And we're not here to take a stance on anything, but it's for sure a different era where there's just so many outlets for people to care and I guess air out dirty laundry, this, that, and the other. That it just didn't exist.
It's just terrible. Everyone wants to have something to say, but you can't fucking say anything.
Yeah.
I love cancel culture.
Yep, and we're in the thick of it.
It's even just beyond that. It's just everyone wants to be fucking upset. I don't get it. Like, who has the time?
Mach sounded real mannish over here.
But I mean, really, like, who has the time to like be so concerned about what someone else that you don't know feels about what someone else you don't know said about something you're not involved in? Like, I just don't understand. Who has the fucking time?
I know. It's ridiculous.
Massey, think about it. When Britney Spears was going through her fucking conservatorship thing, there was people that don't know her fucking picketing for her to get her millions of dollars. So going, what? You got to be a special kind of asshole. That's the problem. And I'm sitting there going, who are these people? Like, you're obviously not going to work.
I wouldn't pick it, but I still thought she should get her money back.
Yes, but there was people like protesting.
Right. Like I wouldn't be missing my job to go and like I just wouldn't.
I said, I'm looking at it going, you're obviously not missing work. So what is happening? That you're able to stand outside for somebody else to get that. And do you think they're going to come out and be like, oh, hey, everybody, here's a fucking Rolls Royce for your troubles? No. I just don't understand how people have the fucking time.
Yeah. I agree.
Can you watch a baseball game?
Yeah.
Callback.
There we go.
Am I the only one who's getting? I'm segueing. Am I the only one who's getting real annoyed with these like 6 and 7 year deals that are turning out to only be 2 and 3 year deals?
Are you talking the NFL?
Yeah.
Yeah, NFL contracts don't mean anything.
It's just so fucking stupid. Like, label them what they are. Call them player option deals or team option deals, and then just, hey, he's guaranteed to be here for 3 years, and then whatever. But
NFL contracts don't mean anything. And
it's frustrating.
It's really, I mean, that's the thing that Earl Thomas was so pissed about a few years back. You know, he said a team can sign you and they can cut you, and that's it. And now you're out of a job. He's like, but if a player holds out for more money, they're labeled an asshole and not a team. And it's like, well, you can't have it both ways. Like, what are we supposed to do? This is our job. Like, if I go to work and I lose my job, then I have to like do so. You know, you have to figure it out. Like,
right.
I guess it's different when you're a millionaire, but it really isn't. That's your job. You still have people to provide for. So if the team doesn't have to show you any type of loyalty, why should players have to? And we rip on players all the time for not being loyal. But at the end of it, why should they be? Like, I like my job, but if someone came along and said, "Hey, we'll pay you double to do what you're doing," okay.
Yeah.
It just there's a big double standard with athletes, and sometimes it makes sense, I guess, but a lot of times it's fucking stupid because at the end of the day, they're still fucking people who have responsibilities and stuff to do. But yeah, NFL contracts don't mean anything.
Yeah, it's just really fucking weird. Like, Von Miller signed a 6-year, $150 million deal with the Bills. Really, it's 3 years, $60 million.
Yeah.
It's just...
It's stupid.
So call it that and say the team also has a couple option years left after that so that they can choose to keep him. But, I don't know. It's fucking stupid.
It's annoying. I think that they should move to a system where just fully guarantee an NFL contract.
I do too, but
why are they not? Why are they not? It doesn't make any sense that they're not. Both sides are agreeing, hey, I'll play here for 3 years for $30 million. The team is saying, hey, we want you to play here for 3 years for $30 million. How is it that any side is able, or I'm sorry, it's not any side. How is it that the team is able to just say, oh, no, you're all done after 2 years and now we don't have to pay you? It doesn't, it's mind blowing that that's able to happen.
Yeah.
Because there's no other time that happens. If I hire a guy to come do my roof and he does 3/4 of it, I go, guess what? I'm not going to pay you now. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It really doesn't, and it's fucking stupid. It's the only of the
only sport like that.
Yeah.
The only sport like that.
Guaranteed. Which, at the end of the day, the 3 years that Von Miller is playing there are fully guaranteed. So
I thought that was weird because wasn't he like ready to retire and then signed an 8-year fucking contract? I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he was ready to play for a couple more years, which again, why I think it's actually just a 3-year deal because he's 35 now.
Yeah,
because this is the first time he's ever tested free agency.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm happy for him. Man came in, got us a ring, and then left to go get his bag. Good for him.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of times that's exactly how it plays out. Either the team wins, team goes to the Super Bowl, wins, team goes to Super Bowl, loses, or the team player makes an impact, and then they just said that was it. You're the rental. You did what you did, and we appreciate it, and then move on. And that's
so like we weren't offering him money though.
No, I know. I agree.
Would you guys get a comp pick for him?
I don't believe so because
you traded for him.
No, because he's a 10-year. I think we get a pick for him, but I think it's like a 7th rounder. I don't think it could be anything big because he's like a 10-year vet or something. It's something weird where his accrual in the league limits what we can get back for him. But yes, we will get a pick.
But yeah.
Yep. Very strange.
Yeah.
Won't be the last.
No. All right.
All right. So we're gonna play some quick sweepers, and then we're gonna get into all our closing stuff. So I'll be right back in like a minute or so.
Home of Getting Sports with Drunk on Monday nights. PPRN Radio. Home of the Peter Pinot Show. PPRN Radio.
Damn, where are we? PPRN Radio. Always on, sometimes off. PPRNradio.net. PPRNradio.net. The most diverse playlist on the planet. 24/7, 365. Yes, your mama's station. Bringing that heat. PPRNradio.net. The station that's home with your wife. While you're at work, we keep her company. We keep her happy.
And now, back to Getting Sports with Drunk on the PPRN Radio Network.
All right, closing out another excellent episode of Getting Sports with Drunk. Massey, we certainly hope that you feel better, and we see you in studio next week.
Yeah, I'm anticipating, so
and for Mark and myself, after hearing the news in Philadelphia, hopefully we remain unscathed for a little while.
You both have had it, haven't you?
I have.
Nope,
yes.
too strong.
Too strong.
Kendall tried to get us.
I've had it twice.
Oh, I'll get you. That's unconfirmed.
It's confirmed.
Okay.
The results say so.
Anyhow, Massey.
So Kendall, she just tested positive and you didn't tell any of us?
No, this was months ago.
Yeah, it was a really long time ago. Because I had to do it for work, and I just showed up randomly positive.
Still didn't tell any of us.
It happened over Christmas or something. So I didn't see you guys anyway. Anyhow, Massey, as you alluded to, beer reviews. Mark, would you care to go first?
Listen, the Sea Hag is just a staple. It's available, really across the state, and it's just fucking fantastic.
It's good beer. In fact, we haven't done this in a really long time for some obvious reasons, but that's a place I'd love to see if we can do a show there.
Yeah, we'd have to try.
Yeah, I love, and then we talk about this. I'd like to see if there's for Connecticut breweries. There's a lot of places that's worth us trying to get into. Just
where is the Sea Hag Brewery?
Woodbridge.
So not terribly far.
No.
Or even maybe we could plan to go as a group and hang out, and then test the waters. Sometimes it's better than sending an email.
I'm in.
Go taste the joint.
Yeah. And I had from the Riddler collection from Berkshire Brewing Company. I had the Dandelion Haze New England IPA. Dry hopped with Galaxy and Citra hops, 6.7% alcohol by volume. This is actually the first Berkshire product that I've had that wasn't a stout or a porter, just kind of by chance. But this was pretty good. I found that after having two, it did kind of burn the palate out a little bit. I couldn't imagine, even at 6.7%, it's a little higher ABV, but I couldn't sit and imagine myself having a 4-pack of these and be like really enjoying and appreciating it for what it is. But it was good for being the style IPA it is. I think it definitely fit the bill. I would recommend it. I'll give it 3.8 stars out of 5. And be lookout to see if this is on draft anywhere. Check your apps.
I started out the night with a fruit punch Powerade. Finished that pretty quickly.
Hilarious.
And I finished with a nice crisp water.
Hey, there you go.
So the best way to get over being sick is you got to drink a lot of gray alcohol.
Gray or grain?
I have both.
Yeah, but which one did Mach say?
I said gray, and I thought it would have been funnier.
Mach, where can they find us?
Find us on Facebook at Getting Sports with Drunk. Twitter and Instagram is at GSWD_4.
That's right. Use the hashtag GSWD, whether it's talking about your trips to Philadelphia and sleeping on bathroom floors versus, cursing out the sports media.
Like, subscribe, and comment on Podbean, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify.
Yes, and be sure to stay tuned to PPRN. It's a live radio station playing music all the time when there aren't shows on. Lineup has changed a little bit, but still stay tuned. Choreorama does a show on Sundays at 2, I believe. Dilemma Monday on Delay. Those are on Tuesdays. It's the Boo Show Sundays at 7. Thursdays at 7. Peter Pinto Show, flagship show on the network, Wednesdays at 7:30. And obviously our show, Mondays, 8-ish to 10-ish, kind of the new format. And every other Saturday is Mixtape Saturday. Coming up this Saturday, I believe, should be Mixtape Saturday starting at 6 p.m., so stay tuned for the lineup.
All right.
Yeah.
And that's it. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. We are all in, much needed rest. So we're going to wrap this up. Souls and Paul should be returning next week. Everyone in studio will have hopefully something fun for you guys planned. But until next time, he is.
Are you talking to me?
Oh, yes, I am.
Oh,
Mach-chine Washable.
Nope.
I wasn't going to say it. I was going to let it pass. But I am Patrick Massey.
And I am
Fucking rat.
the rat, as stated, rat of a Red Baron. Meow.
Yeah.